Part 154. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1532. After making an appointment for dinner, Su Kioxin was about to send her mother back to her room to rest for a while. When going downstairs, Teacher Wang was walking in front. Su Kioxin deliberately fell behind and whispered to Zhang Chen, "Boss, when we have dinner later, you and Mr. Tan should be more affectionate." "Why?" Zhang Chen asked. Su Kioxin wanted to say something else, but Teacher Wang, who was walking in front, turned his head. Su Kioxin quickly shut up, took 2 steps and caught up with her. Zhang Chen sent Su Kioxin and her mother to the parking lot below and watched their car drive away. As Zhang Chen walked back, he thought about the meaning of what Su Kioxin just said. Tan Shahen would also come to have dinner with them in the evening, but as their mutual friends made her meet Su Kioxin's parents for the convenience of doing their work together. "Why do you need to be more intimate? What we want to match up is you and Shi Xiao, not ourselves, and we don't need you to worry about making out." Zhang Chen couldn't figure it out, so he didn't think about it. Su Kioxin's idea was that she knew the little Jeju in her parents' hearts, and asked Tan Shahen to be intimate with Zhang Chen to show them and let them know that the one who wanted to have an affair with Mr. Zhang was also Tan Shahen. "If you can't help yourself, don't worry. Su Kioxin has been subjected to such groundless speculation since she was a child. As long as she gets close to any male classmate, her parents will wonder if they are in puppy love. Therefore, her mother will check her school bag and search every nook and cranny. Picked up her textbook, shaking each one to see if there were any small notes inside. How could they know that even if Su Kioxin received the small note and threw it in the school toilet, how could she leave evidence for them to catch? The tighter her parents were, the more they made Jiao Xin feel itchy and rebellious. Her first love ended earlier than others, in the first grade of junior high school. Her first kiss was with a male classmate she didn't really like. Just to taste the taste of kissing, that male classmate's face is blurred now when he thinks about it. At 6 o'clock, Su Kioxin took her parents to the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel. They sat down in the box. After a while, Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen also arrived. To Su Kioxin's disappointment, they just as usual, she came in chatting and laughing, but not as Su Kioxin expected. Tan Shahen took Zhang Chen's hand and made a grand appearance. She didn't know that Zhang Chen turned a deaf ear to her words and didn't even tell Tan Shahen. Su Kioxin first introduced her father to Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen, and then introduced her mother to Tan Shahen. Zhang Chen did not need to introduce, shook hands with Teacher Su, and said they were happy to meet each other. Tan Shahen introduced herself as a good friend of Jiao Xin and a good friend of Zhang Chen. When they returned to the hotel room, Teacher Wang told Teacher Su what he saw and heard at Su Kioxin's place, as well as his own concerns. Teacher Su said proudly, "Don't you have such doubts? Today's society is different from what we know. All kinds of things are not surprising, but I don't allow it to happen to my daughter." Seeing Zhang Chen, Teacher Su felt that Teacher Wang's worries were not unreasonable. This dinner was held in a friendly and harmonious atmosphere. The seating arrangement for the 5 people was that Teacher Su and Teacher Wang sat together, Zhang Chen sat on the left of Teacher Su, and Tan Shahen sat on the right of Teacher Wang. Su Kioxin sat between Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen. Although Su Kioxin and Zhang Chen were sitting together, they seemed to behave appropriately throughout the night without any excessive intimacy. This made Teacher Su and Teacher Wang feel a little relieved, but they knew in their hearts that it doesn't matter, everyone can pretend. Tan Shahen, on the other hand, impressed both Teacher Su and Teacher Wang very well. From the business card Tan Shahen gave them, they knew that Tan Shahen was the chairman of Splendid China. Although she was thousands of miles away, they had heard about the reputation of Splendid Group. Su Kioxin also introduced that Hangcheng Center belongs to Jinxia Group. The two of them were of course very happy that the chairman of such a large company could be good friends with his daughter, especially Tan Shahan's attitude in front of them was very humble, and she did not feel at all the oppression that a strong woman would bring to others. Feel. Zhang Chen called them Teacher Su and Teacher Wang. They felt a little formal, like their students' parents, but it was consistent with his status as the leader of Kioxin. Tan Shahan calls them Kioxin's dad, Kioxin's mom, or uncle and aunt, which makes them feel more intimate. The food was delicious, the wine and drinks were delicious, and the conversation was interesting. Tan Shahan and Zhang Chen all spoke in front of Teacher Su and Teacher Wang. Tan Shahan talked more about her company. She introduced them to the activities of her company and the Hangzhou City Education Commission. This opened their eyes to the two teachers and was also very useful. They knew that this beautiful chairman was also a people who attach great importance to education, make them feel as if they are respected. The guests and hosts enjoy themselves. When Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan walked them to the hotel gate and everyone shook hands to say goodbye, Teacher Wang held Tan Shahan's hand, already a little reluctant to leave. Although Teacher Su still had knots in his heart, when he held Zhang Chen's hand and shook it goodbye, he felt that this boss was not bad. He was not the kind of nouveau riche who smelled like copper. Apart from other things, he felt, can donate 100,000 tents to the Wenchuan disaster area. For this reason, this boss deserves respect. At night, she was no longer covered in stinky sweat. Su Kioxin walked with her parents from the international building next door, had dinner, and now walked back. Looking at the backs of the three of them, Zhang Chen said, Tan Shahan, it seems they are not as difficult to deal with as you said. Tan Shahan burst into laughter. Zhang Chen was puzzled and asked, why are you laughing? Zhang Chen, do you feel that they are a little wary of you? Tan Shahan asked. What's the meaning? I wonder if they are a little suspicious of you and Xiao Xin. At this point, Tan Shahan couldn't continue and started laughing. I'll go, Zhang Chen cursed. Only then did he understand what Su Kioxin meant by asking him to be intimate with Tan Shahan in the afternoon. This was to draw attention to Tan Shahan. Zhang Chen asked in confusion, how do you know this, Tan Shahan? It feels like I'm not you, so slow and like a piece of wood, Tan Shahan said with a smile. Zhang Chen scratched his head and then remembered that when he was in the office in the afternoon and kept praising Su Kioxin, her mother's eyes were a little strange. It turned out that this was the case. It seemed that he had gone too far. Zhang Chen said angrily, originally I wanted to help Xiao Wu, but now I have to deal with myself first. What's wrong with this? It's okay, it's okay. There's no need to rush to pick it out. You can feel aggrieved first. In this case, they won't be wary of Xiao Wu and it will be easier for Xiao Wu to perform better, Tan Shahan said with a smile. Zhang Chen said okay, I would be willing to cut myself off for Xiao Wu. Tan Shahan put her hand over, took Zhang Chen's arm, and told him to go to your office. What are you going for? Zhang Chen asked. Go and have a video chat with Nan Nan and the others, Tan Shahan said. No way, Zhang Chen, do you really not miss your son at all? The days of thinking about it have long since passed, and I'm used to it, Zhang Chen said. The two people got in the car and drove to the downstairs of the dynamic zone. They parked the car and went upstairs. Turning around the stairs, they saw Xiao Wu squatting on the flower bed smoking. When he saw them, he stood up and shouted, Brother Chen, Sister Zhen. Tan Shahan said, come in Xiao, I want to explain to you. The three of them entered Zhang Chen's office. Zhang Chen walked to his desk and sat down. He turned on his computer and MSN. When he saw Zhang Xiangbei online, he clicked on Zhang Xiangbei. Tan Shahan and Xiao Wu sat down on the sofa. Tan Shahan and Xiao Wu explained what they should say more and what they should not say when Xiao Wu and Su Kioxin's parents are together from tomorrow on. Tan Shahan said something and asked, do you understand, Xiao Wu? He said another paragraph and asked, Do you understand, Xiao Wu? Xiao Wu was so nervous that he kept nodding his head and saying, I understand, Sister Zhen. Zhang Chen looked at them and laughed. Zhang Chen said, Tan Shahen, are you treating Xiao Wu as Xiang Nan in education now? Teach me step by step? Xiao Wu laughed. Tan Shahen hit him and said, still laughing, be serious, do you remember what my sister told you? Xiao Wu quickly said, I remember, Sister Zhen. Tan Shahen sighed and said, I really hope I can go for you tomorrow and help you take them down. Zhang Xiangbei's head appeared on the screen. He waved to Zhang Chen and was pulled away by Sun Xiangyang. Xiangnan appeared in the camera. Zhang Chen asked, how are you? It's great. This place is so beautiful. Zheng Xingxin and the others have gone crazy. There is also a swimming pool on the terrace of the villa we live in. We all spent the whole afternoon soaking in it, Xiangnan said. Okay, just enjoy it and relax completely, Zhang Chen said. Yeah, we will, Uncle Zhang Chen. Xiangnan nodded. Over there, Tan Shahen was still educating Xiao Wu, turning a deaf ear to what was going on here. Tan Shahen, we're connected, do you want to talk to Xiangnan? Zhang Chen shouted. I want it. Tan Shahen ran over quickly. The next day, Xiao Wu arrived at the international building, went upstairs anxiously, and walked to the door of the room where Su Qiaxin's parents lived. He stood there for a long time before he mustered up the courage to ring the doorbell. The door opened and Teacher Wang stood in the door. Xiao Wu quickly said, Auntie, I. Teacher Wang said enthusiastically, oh, it's Xiao Wu, fast forward, fast forward. Xiao Wu walked in. Teacher Wang turned around and said to Teacher Su, this is what I told you yesterday, Mr. Zhang's other assistant, Xiao Wu. Teacher Su saw that the other assistant was really a man, and he was still young. He didn't know why, but he felt a little disappointed. Thank you Lao Chantang for the tip. Thank you to Lao Chantang, the little brother who eats fish, Fantasy in the Wind, and book friends 1202111022076991 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1533. Xiao Wu asked Teacher Wang and Teacher Su if there were any scenic spots that uncles and aunts particularly wanted to visit. If so, we'll go there on the first day. Teacher Wang said, I heard that you have a factory down there, Xiao Wu, we want to go and visit your factory, is that okay? Su Qiaxin's parents came to Hangzhou specifically to inspect their daughter's work and life in Hangzhou. For them, everything related to their daughter was more attractive to them than the scenery of Westlake. They were the first to go. Of course their factory. When Su Qiaxin first started working, she was still in a factory. At that time, they heard that their daughter had entered a private factory, and they felt a little disappointed. Now that they are here, they naturally want to see what the factory that made them disappointed is like. Xiao Wu said yes, the factory is over there in Xiaosha University Town, I will take you there. The reason why Xiao Wu wants to emphasize the university town is because Tan Shahen explained last night that Su Qiaxin's parents are particularly interested in things related to education. As long as you have some connections, try to lean on them. In this way, the topic will be established, and you will not feel like you have nothing to say. When Xiao Wu mentioned the university town, Teacher Wang seemed to take a breath of cold air. She asked, is there a university town in Hangzhou? Are there many universities in Hangzhou? I thought there was only one Zhejiang University. Xiao Wu said that Zhejiang University is not there. The new campus of Zhejiang University is in Zhejiang. In addition to Zhejiang University, there is also the China Academy of Art in Hangzhou. Our company has cooperation with the China Academy of Art. You are also cooperating with the China Academy of Art. You want them to help you train the painters I saw yesterday? Teacher Wang asked. Xiao Wu said no, it's our art museum, which is a sister museum to the Art Museum of the China Academy of Art, and we often organize exhibitions together. Your company also has an art museum? Teacher Su was also curious. Xiao Wu said yes, our company's art gallery is very famous across the country. Many people come from all over the country just to visit our art gallery. If uncles and aunts are interested, I will take you to visit the factory in the morning and visit us in the afternoon. Of art museums. Okay, Teacher Wang and Teacher Su said in unison. The three of them went downstairs, and Xiao Wu secretly sent a text message to Su Qiaxin, we are going to Xiaosha factory now. Su Qiaxin was shocked when she received Xiao Wu's text message. Why would these parents go to the factory instead of visiting the beautiful places in Hangzhou? Su Qiaxin quickly called Zhao Zhigang. As soon as he got in the car, Teacher Wang asked, Xiao Wu, your Mr. Zhang is so young, how old is he? Xiao Wu told her, and Teacher Wang then asked, are you married and have children? Xiao Wu said it was over and he had a son who was now in high school in the United States. Why do you want to study in the United States if the schools in China are not good? Teacher Su snorted. Teacher Wang scolded, why do you care so much about the affairs of rich people? How is their relationship as a couple? Teacher Su asked. Xiao Wu said it was very good. The next questions the two people asked were about Zhang Chen's situation, which made Xiao Wu feel confused and thought to himself, why do you care so much about Brother Chen? By the way, Xiao Wu, how is your boss's relationship with Qiaxin? Teacher Su finally couldn't hold back and got straight to the point. Xiao Wu saw in the rearview mirror that when Teacher Su asked this question, Teacher Wang next to him also hit him. Xiao Wu suddenly understood that they knew that Brother Chen was a person and wanted to marry Su Qiaxin, and Brother Chen brought them together, so they even went to see factories and art galleries. This was because they wanted to find out how much assets Brother Chen had, right? Xiao Wu felt a little uncomfortable in his heart, but he didn't show it. He replied that it was fine. Is he just nice to Qiaxin, or is he nice to everyone? Teacher Su asked, and Teacher Wang hit him again and scolded him in their hometown dialect in a low voice. Xiao Wu felt funny in his heart. He said everything was fine. Mr. Zhang is very good to everyone in the company. The atmosphere in our company is very good. Everyone is together like a family. Moreover, Mr. Zhang is a very decent person. Teacher Wang and Teacher Su breathed a sigh of relief and finally stopped exploring Zhang Chen. When the car arrived at the big roundabout at Yingbin intersection, Xiao Wu did not turn left onto Road 1. Instead, he bypassed the big roundabout, drove straight ahead along Road 6, drove to Road 11, turned left, and then turned left. Drive back on Route 2. The advantage of walking this way is that you can pass through the university town and pass by the gates of the Police Academy, Polytechnic University, and University of Electronic Science and Technology of China, and then you will reach their factory. Sure enough, Teacher Wang and Teacher Su were very interested in the scenery along the way. They pointed and pointed. When they passed the University of Electronic Science and Technology of China, they saw another teaching building in front of them, which was more impressive than the other university teaching buildings they had seen before. When Teacher Su was about to ask what kind of university this was, Xiao Wu turned left and entered the gate, telling them that this is our factory. Both of them were startled. They originally thought that since it was a private factory, it should be a small workshop, one or several low-rise houses, dilapidated, with wires randomly connected to the roof, and the glass windows were not complete and were made of horses. It was made of feces paper or plastic sheeting, and sewage flowed across the door. Everyone who walked out of the house had a pale face and dirty body. Because of this imagination, when they learned that Su Qiaxin had gone to a private factory, they felt that she had returned to the old society and became a bonded worker. Therefore, the two of them did not dare to come to Hangzhou for several years. They were afraid of seeing their daughter's miserable condition. That will make them feel shameless. I didn't expect this private factory to be like this, with such a large scale and neat and beautiful factory buildings. It's still in a university town. This factory building is many times more beautiful than the newly built teaching building in their school. When Xiao Wu's car turned in, Zhao Zhigang was standing at the door of the office building, talking to someone. When he saw Xiao Wu coming, he walked down the steps and walked over. Xiao introduced Teacher Wang and Teacher Su to Zhao Zhigang and told him that these were Su Qiaxin's father and mother. Then he introduced Zhao Zhigang to Su Qiaxin's parents and said, "This is the vice president of our company and the director of this factory." Teacher Wang said, "Are all the people in your company so young?" Zhao Zhigang smiled and said, "Su Qiaxin is also very young." Su Qiaxin's parents laughed, and Xiao and Zhao Zhigang said that their uncle and aunt wanted to visit our factory. Zhao Zhigang said, "Welcome, Xiao Wu, you can go and wait in my office. I will accompany my uncle and aunt to visit. You are not familiar with things in the factory." Zhao Zhigang blinked at Xiao Wu while talking. Xiao Wu was still eager and said quickly, "Okay, you know better than me." Zhao Zhigang received a call from Su Qiaxin and came to the office door to stop Xiao Wu. Many people in the factory knew that Xiao Wu and Su Qiaxin were in love. If they saw them, someone would jokingly call out, "Xiao Wu, you're with me, your mother-in-law." Then it would be all over. With Zhao Zhigang accompanying them, no one would make such a joke. Xiao Wu walked to Zhao Zhigang's office. As soon as he sat down, Su Qiaxin called. Xiao Wu told her that Zhao Zhigang accompanied her parents to visit the workshop. Su Qiaxin said, "I know, and I just want to know what you think." "My clothes are soaked with sweat," Xiao Wu said, and Su Qiaxin laughed. After laughing, Su Qiaxin asked Xiao what to do next. Xiao Wu told her that he would have dinner at the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel in Xiaosha at noon and go to the Lakeside Oil Painting Gallery in the afternoon. Su Qiaxin said, "Okay, Tuxianjiayuan Huihuan is not there, and other people don't know about our relationship. Yao Fen is there, I have to call and explain." Su Qiaxin hung up the phone as he spoke. Xiao Wu held the phone and shook his head. He thought, this seemed like underground work. After a while, Su Qiaxin called again and told Xiao Wu that the boss had told him not to take him to the nearby club when going to the art museum. "Why?" Xiao Wu asked. "The boss said that the bourgeois atmosphere in that place is too strong, and he is afraid of irritating the two people's gardeners. The boss is still wise, just listen to him." Su Qiaxin confessed. Xiao said, "Yes, I understand. We went to Tuxianjiayuan Hotel at noon." Knowing that this place also belonged to them, Teacher Wang couldn't help but exclaimed, "Your company is really big. The factory building you saw in front is bigger than our entire school. I have never seen it before, such a big factory building." Teacher Wang's emotion made Teacher Su even more worried. The stronger the boss was, the more lethal he felt to Su Qiaxin. During the meal, Teacher Wang and Teacher Su focused on Zhang Chen. Teacher Wang asked Xiao Wu if Mr. Zhang's lover was pretty. "Beautiful," Xiao Wu said. "What does she do?" Teacher Wang asked again. Xiao Wu said, "It turned out to be the financial director of our company's financial center." Su Qiaxin's parents didn't hear clearly. They heard that he was the financial director of the financial center. The boss lady was in charge of the money. It was reasonable. Teacher Wang said, "I think about it. Is this financial center next to Mr. Zhang's office?" Xiao Wu said yes. Both of them breathed a sigh of relief. The boss's wife was next door, so the boss probably wouldn't act rashly. However, it's hard to explain. Teacher Su seemed to know what Teacher Wang was thinking, and said softly, "People can pretend to be unsaid." After eating and taking a short rest in the private room, Xiao Wu asked them if his uncle and aunt wanted to go back to the room to rest for a while, or go directly to the art gallery. Teacher Su waved his hand and said, "No need to rest, just go to the art museum." They arrived at the lakeside oil painting gallery, entered the door, and saw the painting sister. Xiao Wu told them that this is our boss lady. "It's really beautiful," Teacher Wang admired and looked back at Teacher Su, who also nodded. Teacher Wang then frowned and said, "Why does this painting look so sad?" Xiao Wu didn't know why many people said they would be sad when they saw this painting. Some people looked at it and tears rolled down their eyes. He couldn't see what was so sad. Xiao Zhao was Xiao Zhao. Xiao Wu felt that Xiao Wu the tree looks very similar, and the painting is quite good, that's all. Xiao Wu didn't know how to respond to Teacher Wang's words. Teacher Wang pointed to the back figure in the painting and said, "Is this Mr. Zhang?" Did the two of them get into an argument and he turned away and ignored her? Teacher Su saw the painting and put some snacks on it. He said, "Anyway, by placing the portrait of your lover in such a conspicuous place, Xiao, your boss must love his lover very much, right?" Xiao Wu said, "Yes, I love her very much. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for not seeing a future but remembering the original intention, old age and death, Rabuluij, Zixize, salted fish sewer, stucco, administrator on the 3rd floor of the library, poor ambition, short horse, thin hair, Huandian electrical and mechanical, Xiaosheng is only 48, why live a floating life Yanmen, Elberking, Pai Wuzun, Yuingzi, specially for Cao Xiaomen, Book Friend 201811072356299095, Book Friend 201912170332388847, Book Friend 201701130912185553, Book Friend 201901042017583818, Book Friend 201701052133115338, Book Friend 0910261531555820 monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1534. In the evening, Su Qiaxin, Xiao Wu, and her parents got together again, and the 4 of them had dinner at Grandma's house upstairs in the center of Hangzhou. Teacher Wang kept picking up food for Xiao Wu, saying that he had worked hard today. Xiao Wu quickly said, "It's not hard at all. Being able to be with my uncle and aunt, I feel like I can learn a lot." Teacher Wang and Teacher Su found these words useful. Su Qiaxin watched secretly from the side and couldn't help but laugh in her heart. From the attitude of her parents towards Xiao Wu, she felt that Xiao Wu's performance today, they have already given a square root mark with a red pen. After finishing the meal, Xiao Wu was about to pay the bill. Teacher Wang shouted, "No, no, no, Xiao Wu, we should treat you to this meal." Teacher Su urged Su Qiaxin to pay the bill quickly. Su Qiaxin sat there with her hands folded and a slight smile. Teacher Su glared at her, wondering why she was so ignorant and not positive at all. Xiao Wu quickly said, "No, no, you can't buy it, Mr. Zhang has told me, if that happens, I will be criticized by Mr. Zhang." Su Qiaxin knew what Teacher Su meant by glaring at her, and she smiled triumphantly at him. "See, it's useless for me to be active. I have a mission." Hearing this, Teacher Su and Teacher Wang couldn't help but frowned, feeling that she was too frivolous. It seemed that this also confirmed that she and their boss had some kind of special relationship. Otherwise, no superior would care about the subordinates. To this extent, the 4 of them went downstairs. Suki Oxen accompanied her parents through Woolen Square and back to the International Building diagonally opposite. Xiao Wu said goodbye to them and went back to the dynamic zone next door. Xiao Wu went upstairs and saw the light in Zhang Chen's office was on. He knocked on the door and went in. Tan Shahen was also here. Both of them were waiting for him. When she saw him coming in, Tan Shahen asked anxiously, "How is it, Xiao Wu?" Xiao Wu told them roughly what happened today. Tan Shahen said it was good, the start was okay, and they will continue to work hard tomorrow, Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu looked at Zhang Chen and said to him, "Brother Chen, why do I feel that Jiao Xian's parents are attracted to you?" "What's going on?" Tan Shahen asked. Xiao Wu told them again that Teacher Wang and Teacher Su had been asking about Zhang Chen today, and he also taught Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen what they asked him. "I'll go," Zhang Chen cursed. Tan Shahen laughed. Xiao Wu looked at her, wondering what she was laughing about. Tan Shahen and Xiao Wu said that they were not attracted to Zhang Chen, but were on guard against Zhang Chen. They did not know about Xiao Zhao, and they were suspicious that Zhang Chen and Suki Oxen were having an affair, that kind of male CEO and female assistant pink story. Thinking about this idea, what Suki Oxen's parents did today was really like this, and Xiao Wu also laughed. "Xiao Wu, you have to give me credit. I am enduring the humiliation and drawing all the firepower on myself to help you buy time," Zhang Chen said. Xiao Wu nodded repeatedly. In the next 2 days, Xiao accompanied Suki Oxen's parents to visit various scenic spots in Hangzhou. He was careful and took good care of them along the way. He supported them when the road was steep and provided them with bottled water when they were thirsty. They found the shade of a tree for them to rest. As soon as they sat down, Xiao Wu immediately handed them a fan. On the night of the 3rd day, Suki Oxen came back from the International Building and excitedly told Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen that it seemed to have worked. My parents were now talking about Xiao Wu to death. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen laughed, and Zhang Chen asked, "Is it time for your showdown?" Suki Oxen said, "Okay, Grandma, whatever, I will talk to them tomorrow night." Tan Shahen smiled and said, "Yes, Jiao Xian, you are more courageous than Xiao Wu in this regard." "That's not the case," Suki Oxen said, "now it's my parents. If it were Xiao Wu's father, I would be scared to death like him. My own parents, what can they do to me? Even from now on. If you sever ties and deny me as your daughter, that is also a lie. If you don't recognize me, who will they recognize? Who is willing to let them recognize me?" Tan Shahen nodded in agreement. "Yes, that's true. This kind of relationship is constantly noisy." When Tan Shahen said this, she thought of herself and Lao Tan, who were always at odds with each other. What would happen in the end? A father would still be a father, and a daughter would still be a daughter. Zhang Chen said, "Don't worry, Kioxen, there is nothing wrong with Xiao's father. He only likes it and will not object." "I know," Su Kioxen said, "I already knew it when I went to his house last time." Tan Shahen looked at her, "You finally admit that you wanted to date Xiao Wu at that time." Su Kioxen giggled. Xiao Wu accompanied Su Kioxen's parents to play in Hangzhou for 3 days. They went to almost all the places they should go. Xiao Wu's mission was also completed. Next, it was time for them to do their own activities. They played every day these days. It was quite tiring. They planned to relax for 2 days, then have a serious talk with Su Kioxen, and then go back. Although until now, everything about Su Kioxen and Zhang Chen is still their imagination, and they have not found even a single clue, they feel that it is still necessary to sound the alarm for Su Kioxen. Unexpectedly, after dinner, Su Kioxen accompanied them back to the room. Before they spoke, Su Kioxen sat down and pretended to have a good talk with them. Su Kioxen asked the two of them to sit in an armchair, and she sat on the bed opposite them. Su Kioxen told them what happened between herself and Xiao Wu. After hearing this, Teacher Wang and Teacher Su didn't react for a while. When they reacted, their hearts were already cold. It turned out that something did happen to their daughter. But it wasn't what they imagined. It was because they were having trouble with Zhang Chen. They were aiming in the wrong direction. Teacher Wang looked at Su Qiaxin and asked in as calm a tone as possible, "You and Xiao Wu? Is this Xiao Wu who has been with us these 2 days?" Su Qiaxin is right. Teacher Su snorted, "I see, then these 2 days' actions were all planned by you, right?" Su Qiaxin looked at him and didn't say yes or no. "Qiaxin, tell your mother, what would you say if you wanted us to know this?" Teacher Wang looked at Su Qiaxin and continued to ask. Su Qiaxin was speechless for a moment. When her mother heard this, she didn't immediately become furious, which was a big surprise to her. "You have to teach us," Qiaxin, Teacher Wang said coldly, "both of us are from small places and have no knowledge. There is no way to compare with you people living in big coastal cities. Our thoughts, has long been outdated and should be swept into the dustbin of history. Qiaxin, if you don't teach us, how will we know what to do?" Teacher Su helped, "That's right, I used to think that this society is becoming more and more difficult for me to understand. Now even my own daughter is becoming less and less understanding of it. That's Xiao Wu, just at that age, I am almost catching up with you, but you can still say it, you are in love." "Nonsense, Xiao Wu is not that old," Su Qiaxin said. "Su Qiaxin," Teacher Wang shouted loudly, making Su Qiaxin tremble. "You have the nerve to speak, but we don't have the nerve to listen," Teacher Wang shouted. "You actually want to listen to our opinions so brazenly, do you want to listen to our opinions? You are cutting first and then telling the story? In your eyes, Su Qiaxin, there is no us at all." When Su Qiaxin heard this, she also became frustrated. She shouted, "What's wrong with me that I cut off first and then tell you the story later? What's wrong with me that I just fell in love with Xiao Wu? I have the freedom to fall in love." "Okay, that's so well said, so clever. You have the freedom to fall in love, Su Qiaxin. I tell you, we are your parents, we also have the responsibility to oppose. We can't watch you jump into the fire pit, we have to save you." "Responsibility," Teacher Wang said. "Xiao Wu is very good to me. Why did I just jump into the fire pit when I fell in love with him? He is very good to you, of course he will be very good to you. He is an old man and you are a young girl. If he is not good to you, how can he deceive you?" Teacher Su sneered. "Failure, failure, complete failure. Teacher Su, you don't have to say it. This is a complete failure of our family education. There is no way. Now we can only try our best to save it." Teacher Wang waved his hands and said, "No, no. We can't stay in Hangzhou anymore, Su Qiaxin, you can go back with us tomorrow." "I don't want to go back." "Why should I go back to a place where birds don't poop?" Su Qiaxin said. "Su Qiaxin," Teacher Wang shouted, "please understand, you grew up in a place where birds don't poop. It was the water and soil where birds don't poop that raised you. Your parents are still in that place where birds don't poop where we shit, we are still alive and well." Teacher Su scolded, "Su Qiaxin, do you think you are a big shot now? Your tail is already raised to the sky." Su Qiaxin bit her lip and said, "I know I'm not a big shot, but what can I do if I go back? The foreign trade companies in that city are only so big, and the entire city's foreign trade company's business in a year is not as good as mine. The next salesman does a lot more, what can I do when I go back? You don't have to do anything when you go back. You just stay at home. Even if I raise you, I won't let you stay in Hangzhou or be with that person," Teacher Wang said. Su Qiaxin thought about it all night last night. It can be said that today's scene and her parents' reaction were completely within her expectation. Grandma, Su Qiaxin felt that if she didn't use her trump card, it would be impossible. These two people were really maybe they would drag her onto the train and drag her home. Soo Kyoxin straightened up and patted her hands on the bed. She said, "Okay, I'll just go back with you. I'll ask Mr. Zhang for leave later and I'll go back with you tomorrow. I just need some rest." When Soo Kyoxin said this, her parents were stunned. They didn't know whether her words were true or false, let alone what medicine she was selling in her gourd. However, there is one thing I want to tell you first. I already have Xiaowu's child in my belly. After returning home, I will not look for any job. I will just walk around the school playground every day. I walked around the door and saw that my belly was getting bigger day by day. Soo Kyoxin said slowly. Teacher Wang and Teacher Su were both stunned. They seemed to hear the whispers and ridicules of all the teachers and students in the school at this moment. "Thank you Lingzong Zhongzhong, kidnapper, very careful." 333, Zi Zhang said, "Wave bird, light and thin, purple heel, CYTYP, book friends 201708182135179119, book friends 1202111002207691, book friends 201905281830305544, book friends 1701151505372776, book friends 20017102120133343, book friend 2017050315261046 monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1535. At around 10 o'clock in the morning, Zhang Chen and Tan Shuhen arrived at the International Building. They didn't know if Soo Kyoxin's parents were still in the room, so they decided to go upstairs to have a look. Last night, when Soo Kyoxin came back, she told them that she and her parents had completely broken up. As for what kind of tragic situation it was, she didn't seem willing to talk about it. Anyway, her parents already knew that she and Xiaowu were in a relationship, and they didn't agree with it, so their reaction was a bit fierce. All this has been expected by Zhang Chen and Tan Shuhen. They know that the time has come when they need to play. The two of them walked to the door of Kyoxin's parents' room, and Tan Shuhen rang the doorbell. Inside the door, Teacher Wang and Teacher Su got up in the morning, took their meal tickets and went to the restaurant below to finish breakfast. When they returned to the room, they had been sitting blankly for more than 2 hours. "I haven't even watched Wen Tianxia." When they heard the doorbell ringing, they looked at each other, thinking it was Soo Kyoxin. The two of them continued to sit, neither of them bothered to open the door. Of course, there was an element of anger in it, but they were already heartbroken. Tan Shuhen continued to press, and the room was quiet. Zhang Chen told her that she should have gone out. When the two of them got downstairs, they still didn't give up. Tan Shuhen and Zhang Chen said, "Should we just wait for them here for a while?" Zhang Chen said yes. The two of them walked to the sofa in the lobby and sat down. There were no lights on in the room, and the light outside the room passed through the brown window glass, and when it reached the room, it also had a dark tone. The fan blew the wind outwards, and red streamers were fluttering in the wind. Soo Kyoxin's parents sat in armchairs in front of the window, staring at the red streamers. Neither of them spoke. This time is when the hotel has the least number of guests. Most of the guests leaving the hotel have left, and the guests staying in the hotel have not yet arrived. The hotel's central air conditioner will also take advantage of this opportunity to shut down and rest for an hour. At this time, the fan what came out of the mouth was only wind, no air conditioning, and the airtight room gradually became stuffy. But they don't seem to feel it. Soo Kyoxin's parents listened to the doorbell ringing for a while, and then stopped. They thought that Soo Kyoxin must have left. Teacher Wang sighed, and then Teacher Su also sighed. Both of them are in a mess in their hearts. It seems that this daughter is planning to go all the way to the end. Neither of them knows what to do next. Whether they are against it or in favor, now all seem to have become insignificant. It was a done deal. Xiao Wu, who seemed very honest and responsible, had ruined their daughter, and teacher Wang felt that everything was lost. If they keep her in Hangzhou, the next result can be imagined. She will definitely continue to be with that Xiao Wu. This is the outcome they least want to see. But if they take her back forcefully, they don't know whether she is willing to do so. The most important thing is that they have no way to face the fact that Su Qiaxin is at home, but her belly is getting bigger day by day, and they have no face to face it. The picture of walking around the playground or the school gate with a bulging belly. Not only can they not afford to lose face, but Su Qiaxin also cannot afford to lose face. If you are already like this, then it is not a broken jar, but a broken jar that fell to the ground, was run over by a car, and shattered into powder. How could we continue to live in that small inland town in the future? Who would dare to fall in love with her again and marry her with an unknown origin? Two elementary school teachers who had always lived a regular life, worked conscientiously, and behaved innocently, now felt that they could no longer be as calm as they were in class. Their balance was completely messed up. After decades of trying, Teacher Fang felt like he was as soft as tofu. The doorbell rang twice more, and then a voice sounded, "Hello, waiter, clean the room." The door was then opened, and a waiter appeared at the door. He was stunned for a moment when he saw them, and quickly said, "Sorry, I thought you were not in the room. Can you clean it now?" Teacher Wang came to her senses and said hurriedly, "Okay, okay." He turned to Teacher Lu and said, "Let's go down and take a walk." The two people stood up and walked out, leaving the room for the waiter to clean. Tan Shehen and Zhang Chen were sitting there chatting. Zhang Chen had his back to the hall and faced Tan Shehen. Tan Shehen suddenly patted Zhang Chen and told him, "Come on, come on." Zhang Chen turned around and saw Su Qiaxin's parents walking out of the elevator. The two people quickly stood up and greeted him. Looking closer, Zhang Chen and Tan Shehen were startled. They saw that Su Qiaxin's parents looked completely different from the two high-spirited people they had seen a few days ago. Their faces were gray. Seems to be coated with a layer of wax, the body is a little rickety, and the whole person seems to be much older. Seeing Tan Shehen and Zhang Chen, they smiled reluctantly. Tan Shehen said, "Uncle and Aunt, we have just been upstairs. You are not in the room. We are waiting for you here." Only then did Su Qiaxin's parents realize that the doorbell in front of them was ringing, not by Su Qiaxin, but by Mr. Zhang and Mr. Tan. The two people looked a little embarrassed and could only respond vaguely. Tan Shehen continued, "Uncle and Aunt, we are here to invite you to my company." Su Qiaxin's parents looked at each other, not knowing whether to refuse or agree. Their hearts were still in confusion. Zhang Chen said from the side, "Teacher Wang, Teacher Su, go and have a look. I promise you won't regret it. Mr. Tan's company is not an ordinary place, but ordinary people really don't know." Su Qiaxin's parents looked at him, wondering what Zhang Chen was talking about. Zhang Chen smiled and continued. The location of their company is a cultural relic protection unit. Qiaxi Academy was the site of Zhejiang University when it was founded. Teacher Wang and Teacher Su, at this time, don't care whether they are from Zhejiang University or Hangzhou University, but they are teachers after all, and they still have the basic cultivation and respectability. Knowing that these two bosses come to invite them together, that is, it's hard to refuse such hospitality, especially since Mr. Zhang is his daughter's leader. Since Su Qiaxin confessed her love affair with Xiao Wu to them, the relationship they originally imagined between Zhang Chen and Su Qiaxin has disappeared. Zhang Chen's image has become taller in their eyes. This little bit of face, they think they still have to give it. Teacher Su said to Teacher Wang, "Oh, it turns out to be the old Zhejiang University, Let's go and have a look. Teacher Wang nodded and said yes. At this time, she had another idea. She thought that maybe she could find a chance to ask Mr. Zhang and Mr. Tan to help her with her daughter's work and give up this ridiculous relationship. Maybe it would still work. The two of them should be more effective than myself and teacher Su now. The four people got in the car and went to Kyoshi Academy. Tan Shahen took them around to look around. Both of them were very emotional. They didn't expect that the famous Zhejiang University was originally located in such a small temple-renovated academy. After walking around and talking, when they returned to Tan Shahen's office, Su Kioxin's parents seemed to look better. The four of them sat there and chatted for a few words. Teacher Wang couldn't help it anymore, so she asked Zhang Chen. Mr. Zhang, that's Xiao Wu, do you know him well? Zhang Chen said that he understood. I, and Mr. Tan used to be in the same theater troupe, but he was a generation younger than us and he was a very nice person. Tan Shahen nodded on the side. Teacher Wang picked up the teacup and took a sip to moisten her throat. She asked, he and Jiao Xian are in love with him. Do you know? I know. Everyone in the company knows it and thinks they are good together. Zhang Chen said lightly, trying to pretend that this was a very common and normal thing. He asked, why, Kioxin didn't tell you? You did tell us after finishing speaking, Teacher Wang sighed. Teacher Su also sighed. The two of them grimaced and remained silent. Tan Shahen smiled and said, I can see it, uncle and aunt, are you dissatisfied with Xiao Wu? How can you be satisfied? Teacher Su snorted. This guy, we've been dating him for a few days, and I don't think he's a bad guy, Teacher Wang said, but if he wants to fall in love with Kioxin, we can't accept it. Why, Auntie? Tan Shahen asked. We are not saying how outstanding our daughters are, but the gap between the two of them is really huge, Teacher Wang said. Kioxin is indeed excellent, Zhang Chen said. To be honest, Teacher Wang and Teacher Su, when I first knew that they were in love, I was surprised. I also felt that the two of them had different conditions. They are all very different. Moreover, Xiao Wu also had the self-awareness at that time. He did not dare to accept Jiao Xian for fear of delaying her. But then, I saw the two of them together. They had always been very good, and the more I saw them, the more pleasing they became. Yes, Xiao Wu is more than 10 years older than Jiao Xian, but this does not prevent them from being very good together. On the other hand, if Jiao Xian finds someone of the same age, but makes noise every day, then what's the use of being young? Are you right, Teacher Wang? Teacher Wang was stunned for a moment, then she said, that's what I said, but after all. Also, in terms of cultural level, Jiao Xian graduated from college, and Xiao Wu has been studying in the theater troupe student class since he was a child. In cultural classes, he is indeed far behind others, but I think this should be not everything a person has. To put it bluntly, in today's society, those with knowledge may not necessarily have common sense, and those with diplomas may still be idiots. Even if two doctors are together, they may not get along and eventually break up. Xiao Wu and Jiao Xian, although their education levels are very different, they are still very eloquent, and their communication is smoother than when two doctors are together. There is nothing we can do about this. When Zhang Chen said this, Tan Shahen interrupted. Besides, that Xiao Wu still admires Jiao Xian, right? Yes, Zhang Chen laughed, Xiao Wu really admires Jiao Xian. I think this is better than two doctors being together and despising each other. When Teacher Wang heard what Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen said, she felt sad. She felt that her hope that they would persuade Xiao Wu and Jiao Xian to break up was probably in vain. Teacher Wang looked at Zhang Chen and then at Tan Shahen. She stood up and said to Tan Shahen, Mr. Tan, you are Kioxin's good friend. I have something to ask you, okay? Tan Shahen said yes. When she saw Teacher Wang hesitating, she knew something was going on because she was too shy to speak in front of Zhang Chen. She stood up and said to Teacher Wang, "Come on, Auntie, let's sit across from each other." Tan Shahen took Teacher Wang into Lu Ligan's empty office diagonally opposite. "Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes, 1 up and 1 down, at about 3 o'clock in the middle of the night when I was only 48 years old. Thank you for the 48-year-old Xiaoshen year, the chair in the world, Zipanjiang 1, the sinful orchid finger, the small stone head, why talk about dreams in a floating life, you know whether a book is good, happy end, Cup Guy API, George Shao, Book Friend 2018121213522868, Book Friend 2019070611214145 monthly vote. Thank you for all the recommendation votes and reading. I wish everyone good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1536. Teacher Wang sat down, looked at Tan Shahen and asked, "Mr. Tan, you?" Tan Shahen took her hand and said, "Auntie, just call me Zhen Zhen, Mr. Tan." "That's too foreign." Teacher Wang said, "Okay, Zhen Zhen, do you know? Teacher Wang asked whether she knew, but she was still shy to speak. Tan Shahen gently patted the back of her hand and said to her, "Auntie, don't worry, there are only 2 of us here, you can say anything to me." Teacher Wang nodded, regained his composure, and then said, "Zhen Zhen, do you know that Kioxin is pregnant?" Tan Shahen was surprised. Su Kioxin was already pregnant? This had never been heard of before. Tan Shahen thought about it briefly and ruled out this possibility. If Su Kioxin was really pregnant, even if Su Kioxin was embarrassed to say it, Xiao Wu would not be able to tell Zhang Chen at all. Tan Shahen immediately understood that this was Su Kioxin's desperate attempt to blackmail her parents. No wonder her parents' faces turned gray. For them, what could be more embarrassing than this? Pushed them into a corner. Tan Shahen almost laughed. She was laughing so hard at Su Kioxin, both for herself and her parents. She could even make up such a reason. Even when she was fighting with old Tan, she didn't dare to go to the step. Tan Shahen couldn't tell Su Kioxin that she was not pregnant at the moment, and she couldn't bear to lie to Teacher Wang again. She could only say, "If this is the case, Auntie, then we must handle it more carefully. If we don't handle this well, something big might happen." Teacher Wang nodded. How could she not know this truth? She said, "To be honest with you, Zhen Zhen, Teacher Su and I didn't sleep much last night, and we don't know what kind of evil we did. After giving birth to such a rebellious daughter, Kioxin has been a good child since she was a child, and this is not how we raised her." Tan Shahen said with a smile, "Today's society is changing rapidly, and information is exploding. If we don't keep an eye on it for 3 days, we will not be able to catch up. My daughter hasn't gone to college yet. I feel now that her worldview is very different from mine after finishing college in 2011, I really don't know what she will become, but what can we as mothers do? We can't follow her 24 hours a day. Following her 24 hours a day for 2 hours a day will make you annoying," Teacher Wang scolded. "When I was a child, I would cling to you every day and cry when I couldn't see you. Now I feel annoyed when I see you. I can't wait to see you. There is no mother like you." Yes, girls can't help themselves. As mothers, we really have endless things to worry about, but in their eyes, they think we are all worrying blindly, Tan Shahen said. Teacher Wang patted Tan Shahen's hand and sighed. She felt that Tan Shahen's words spoke to her heart. "But about Kioxin, Auntie, I'll tell you what I have to say." "Okay," Tan Shahen asked. "Say it, Zhen Zhen," Teacher Wang said quickly. "The Kioxin thing, Auntie, if you ask me, it's not that serious. Since the 2 of them must be good, and things have reached this point, it would be better to force them to break up. If they break up, I don't know whether they can be separated. Maybe it will lead to something big, but the worst thing is that it will not be removed, and it will also lead to two enemies. Xiao Xian hates you, and Xiao Wu hates you too. This will plant a lifelong hatred. How can we get along with each other from now on? On the other hand, if it is to promote marriage, what Mr. Zhang said earlier is right. I also understand Xiao Wu. He is not a bad person, and he is not a philanderer. He will also be wholeheartedly devoted to Xiao Xian. Auntie, what are you doing now? If you help them get along, Qiaxin will also be grateful to you, and Xiao will be grateful to you. Their family will be in harmony, and wouldn't it be better if you are also in harmony with each other? Zhen, my aunt understands this, and now that the deal is done, there doesn't seem to be much way out, but... Teacher Wang said with red eyes, I just don't want to accept it. I have never thought about Qiaxin. I will find such a person. Tan Shahen followed these words and continued. She said. Auntie, I don't know what makes you dislike Xiao Wu. If it's the age and cultural differences mentioned above, then there's nothing you can do about it. This is an objective reality and no one can change it. But if it's other aspects, we can work together to make him change. Not only this, they just want to be happy for a while and think it's good. They have a child. Have you ever thought about what to do after the child is born? I know that Xiao Wu's family is still in the countryside, so he is still an agricultural worker. Huakao means marriage. When a child is born, does he also get an agricultural huakao? As Teacher Wang said, Tan Shahen almost laughed out loud. Who cares about what kind of age it is, what kind of residential household registration and agricultural household registration? But Tan Shahen couldn't tell her that. Tan Shahen told Teacher Wang. No, Xiao Wu definitely doesn't have an agricultural registered permanent residence. He was originally in a theater troupe and was a business employee. Really? Teacher Wang was stunned for a moment and asked. Tan Shahen is right. Although our troupe is a small troupe, it is a troupe with formal establishment. If we were still in the troupe, Mr. Zhang, myself, and Xiao Wu would all be in the professional establishment. Teacher Wang nodded and his face became a little more pleasant. She felt that Xiao Wu finally had something that she could like. Although Tan Shahen was talking about things in the past, this career establishment had and had not. However, Teacher Wang feels that the difference is still very big. Just like their teachers, the private teachers, everyone fights for the few public teacher quotas every year. Some people have been fighting for their whole life, but they have not been able to get the status and benefits of public teachers. You don't have a career establishment, and you may not be able to get it if you fight for it all your life. You have had it, but you don't have it now. Just like this sum and Mr. Tan, it means you have something better than that, and if you give up, the end of others will be you. The starting point, can this be the same? However, Mr. Zhang and Mr. Tan gave up their own business establishment, which meant they had their own careers. This Xiao Wu, if he gave up, what would happen? Auntie, what about other than this? Tan Shahen asked, I mean besides the household registration you are considering. And. Teacher Wang thought, why is the Xiao Wu besides the household registration I was considering? Besides having a household registration and an ID card, what else does he have? Teacher Wang said angrily, this Xiao Wu, what does he have? He is so old and still lives in the dormitory of the work unit. Doesn't he even have a house of his own? Why does he marry Xiao Xian? It's over. Will you continue to live in a dormitory after getting married? This is definitely not the case. Tan Shahen laughed and said, Auntie, I will let you and your uncle see the house where they got married tomorrow. By the way, weren't you worried about Xiao's household registration earlier? Not only Xiao, but also Qiaxin, can I let them all become Hangzhou residents? In this way, their children will be Hangzhou residents as soon as they are born, and auntie can rest assured. Teacher Wang looked at Tan Shahen and felt a little confused. She was changing like this. Do you think you are a magician? Tan Shahen looked at her watch and said with a smile, Auntie, that's what we've decided. I'll let you see their house tomorrow. Let's go have lunch first. After lunch, Su Kioxin's parents were sent to the international building. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen stood there, watching the elevator door close in front of them, and they went upstairs. Zhang Chen quickly asked Tan Shahen, Mr. Tan, how are you doing with your ideological work? We talked for so long, and during dinner, I saw that Teacher Wang's mood seemed to be much better. Of course it's done, Tan Shahen said proudly. I guess Teacher Wang is already doing Teacher Su's work now, telling him that the deal is done, the raw rice is cooked, etc. Really, Tan Shahen, can you be so brave? Zhang Chen shouted. Aren't you convinced that I am so brave? Tan Shahen said with a smile. Okay, I'm convinced. I'm convinced, Zhang Chen said. Tell me how you did it. Get in the car first and go to the dynamic zone. Tan Shahen whetted Zhang Chen's appetite and deliberately refused to tell him. Zhang Chen was anxious but had no choice. The two people hurriedly walked to the parking lot. After getting in the car, Tan Shahen did not immediately tell Zhang Chen how she had done it. Instead, she told him about Su Kioxin's pregnancy. I'm going, I didn't expect Xiao Wu to be so brave. This is a move that will determine the outcome. After shouting, Zhang Chen immediately felt that something was wrong. He said, is it fake? If Su Kioxin is pregnant, there is no way Xiao Wu will not tell me. Why did he have to tell you? Tan Shahen asked. He was ordered to fall in love, and according to my order, if all the seeds were sown, wouldn't he be afraid of being beheaded if he didn't come to report to me? Zhang Chen said. You, Tan Shahen cursed. The two of them arrived upstairs in the dynamic zone. Tan Shahen called Xiao Wu over and told him the matter. Tan Shahen said that Kioxin's mother has agreed to go to your house tomorrow. Agreeing to go to the house means that she has already acquiesced in her heart. Do you understand, Xiao Wu? As long as I take a look at the house again tomorrow, and I think it looks good and I'm very satisfied, your son-in-law will be confirmed by the mother-in-law. Do you understand, Xiao Wu? Xiao Wu looked at Tan Shahen, wondering what she was talking about. Why were Kioxin's parents involved in the house again? Nowadays, everyone in society is talking about houses, but what does this house have to do with his affairs with Kioxin? Besides, he doesn't have a house, so what can he show them tomorrow? Are you stupid, Xiao Wu? No, it's not you who are stupid, Zhang Chen and I are too stupid. Don't glare at me, Zhang Chen, we are just stupid. Don't deny it. We should have considered it a long time ago and put all the conditions into consideration. Create everything first, click it, and then let Xiao Wu shine on the stage, blinding them all. The older you get, the older the mother-in-law will be. Once she sees your condition, she will accept it. Tan Shahen danced and talked. Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu were both amused by her. Tan Shahen scolded Xiao Wu and said, you are still laughing, why aren't you alert? Kioxin's mother is right, Xiao Wu, you are already so old. As soon as Kioxin's parents agree, you should prepare to get married immediately. Marriage, Xiao Wu, where will you live? Will you continue to live upstairs? Don't be nagging, Tan Shahen, you are right. Just make up for it. If you still have an existing house in Hangzhou, I will buy one immediately and solve this problem, Zhang Chen said. Tan Shahen looked at him and said to him, don't worry about this matter. I also promised Teacher Wang to help Xiao and Kioxin solve the Hangzhou household registration problem. Can you solve it? Then can you solve it? Zhang Chen cursed. Of course, Tan Shahen said with a proud smile, Without diamonds, I wouldn't be able to work with this porcelain. Thank you Lang68 for the tip. Thank you for the clear spring, but the destiny is UW, green bamboo shoots in the mountains, why talk about dreams in floating life, Maple Bridge 001, exercise, Dachuan, Ronin fireworks, LCS 0001, Suyuinian, Little Derpy Thief, Book Friends 1303201655311765, Book Friends 201911021135467118, Book Friends 1605312310344729, Book U 2019070611214147, Book U 11963189776326411024, Book Friends 2017050315261046 Book Friend. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1537. Tan Shahen and Zhang Chen said, "You really don't understand our real estate company, it's a shame you've been hanging around with us for so long. What's wrong? Do you have any other tricks that I don't know about?" Zhang Chen asked. "In every project, we always have one or two houses that are not sold," Tan Shahen said. "This is not only the case for our company, but also for almost all real estate companies." "Why keep it?" Zhang Chen really didn't know that real estate companies still did this, so he asked curiously. "This is reserved for related households, and, as you know, it is intended to be given to those people," Tan Shahen said. "You can't just give away houses from this project because of the requirements of this project. Isn't that stupid? It must be a house in another place, and the longer a house has been open for sale, the less attention it will receive, the safer it is, and the more people dare to take it. Do you understand? Let me go, you are not naked." Zhang Chen cursed. "What do you think? There are just some things that Zhuangzi doesn't want you to know. In an environment where girls are forced into prostitution, can they survive without being prostitutes?" Tan Shahen smiled and said, "But it's better now. I don't have this worry. I can't give it away to a listed company even if I want to. This part of the house has been renovated and we are going to use it to reward our employees." "No," Xiao Wu just caught up. Xiao Wu heard from the side and understood what they were talking about. Xiao Wu immediately said, "No, no, no, Sister Zhen, I can't have this." "What can't you ask for? What don't you want to show your mother-in-law tomorrow?" Tan Shahen said. "Is it up to you to take it or not? If the pole is there, can you push it away?" Zhang Chen also said, "Xiao Wu, don't be nagging about this matter." Zhang Chen asked Tan Shahen, "I still have my huakao. What do you say about my huakao?" "The house and the household registration are together," Tan Shahen said. "This house is in Qianzhong New Town, which is the community where Yao Fen originally lived. It happens to be within the scope of house purchase and household registration. If the house is settled, the household registration will be settled, right?" Zhang Chen suddenly realized it and said with a smile, "Not bad, not bad." Xiao Wu made it clear here. Tan Shahen called Su Qiaxin over. When Su Qiaxin walked in, Zhang Chen stared at her belly. Su Qiaxin became uncomfortable when he looked at her, while Tan Shahen laughed on the side. "Su Qiaxin, your belly is still just plain. Didn't you hear the gunfire?" Zhang Chen said. Su Qiaxin understood, and her face turned red instantly. Tan Shahen raised her thumb and said to Su Qiaxin, "You are still ruthless, I can't even think of this move." Su Qiaxin pouted and said, "I was also forced by them. If I didn't say this, they would ask me to go back. Really, they would drag me onto the train. If I said this, they wouldn't dare dislike me. Why? Tan Shahan asked. Su Kioxin blushed and smiled. I told them that when I went back, I would have to walk around the school playground and gate with a big belly every day, which scared them. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan laughed, and Xiao Wu also laughed. After laughing, Tan Shahan and Su Kioxin said, I have done your mother's work, but since you have made your parents feel that the raw rice has been cooked, then let the rice simmer for a while, and don't tell them yet, the pregnancy is fake. You have to figure out how to deal with it later. I will take your mother to see your new house tomorrow. Zhang Chen and I's mission will be completed. From now on, it's all a matter within your family. New house, what new house? Su Kioxin asked. Tan Shahan told Su Kioxin about the house, and Su Kioxin quickly said, No, no, Sister Shahan, or we can buy this house ourselves. We have money, but it may be a little bit short, so you can just give us a discount. Don't be nagging. It's your business to have money. This is given to you by me and the Pole. Even Zhang Chen can't get involved. Whose name is registered on the real estate certificate? Tan Shahan asked. Xiao Wu quickly pointed to Su Kioxin and said, Her. Tan Shahan stood up and said, Let's go, Kioxin, take your ID card and follow me, let Yao Fen accompany you, and go to complete the procedures in the afternoon. After the procedures for the house were completed, Su Kioxin took her parents to see the house that evening. This house was originally left by Lu Ligan to put it into use, so the location and floors were very good, with more than 160 square meter, 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms. Standing on the balcony of the master bedroom and living room, you can see the Jiantang River not far away. Su Kioxin showed her mother one of the rooms and told her mother, Originally, I wanted to treat this as your room. Xiao Wu said, It's better for us to live here and leave the master bedroom to you during the winter and summer vacations. You can come and live here when you are young, and you can live with us after you retire. Teacher Wang almost burst into tears as she listened. Teacher Su looked at the house. It was bigger than both of their homes. It especially had a large balcony, which was sealed with glass and turned into a sunroom, where many flowers could be planted. After looking at the house and going back, Su Kioxin told her parents that Mr. Zhang and Mr. Tan would treat you to dinner in the evening, and Xiao Wu would come too. Neither Teacher Su nor Teacher Wang rang. Not speaking was acquiescence. Not only did they acquiesce to the matter of dinner in the evening, but they also acquiesced to the matter of Su Kioxin and Xiao Wu. Dinner was still at the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel on Yan'an Road. Not only Zhang Chen, Tan Shahan, and Xiao Wu were here, but also Lao Yang. He volunteered to come after hearing the news. He told Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan that Xiao Wu's former leader and old regiment leader came forward. Wasn't it unconvincing to his prospective mother-in-law? The two of them thought it made sense and asked Lao Yang to attend together. Sure enough, after the introduction, Su Kioxin's parents knew that Lao Yang was the leader of Xiao Wu's former theater troupe, and they looked up to him with admiration. During the dinner, Lao Yang spoke highly of Xiao Wu, and despite his encouragement, the wedding of Su Kioxin and Xiao Wu was scheduled for October, and Teacher Wang and Teacher Su couldn't agree to it even if they wanted to. Teacher Wang smiled and said, Captain Yang is so eloquent. If I say one word of objection, you can probably say 10 words of objection to me. Well, I won't object to it anymore. Everyone laughed. Striking while the iron was hot, the next day, Xiao Wu and Su Kioxin took Su Kioxin's parents to Xiao Wu's home in Yongcheng. When Xiaomei heard the news, she and Jianlin rushed back from the factory. They all had dinner together and stayed there all night. After being in contact with each other for a long time, Teacher Wang and Teacher Su felt that Xiao Wu was the same as Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan said. He was a very nice person. Looking at their family, they were also a very honest and responsible family. Jiao Xian married like this. Even though they are from other provinces, they will not be bullied. After returning from Yongcheng and staying in Hangzhou for another day, Su Qiaxin's parents were about to go back. When Xiao Wu and Su Qiaxin went to the station to see them off, the two of them were already in a happy mood. Teacher Wang and Xiao Wu kept explaining, they all asked him to take good care of Su Qiaxin, a pregnant woman. Xiao Wu nodded and couldn't help but almost laughed and was kicked by Su Qiaxin. Teacher Wang and Teacher Su left with satisfaction. When they came to Hangzhou again, it would be October and they were going to attend their wedding. After sending Su Qiaxin's parents away, Xiao Wu became worried on the way back. He said, "What will you do if your belly isn't big enough by then? Stuff a pillow under your clothes?" Su Qiaxin burst into laughter. Xiao Wu said, "Really, when Sister Zhen used to play pregnant women on stage, she would tie a pillow to her waist." Su Qiaxin laughed and cursed, "Will this pillow turn into a child in the end? What will happen after October? During the winter vacation, my mother will definitely be worried and will have to take care of me herself." "So what?" Xiao Wu scratched his head and said, "Yes, what should we do?" Su Qiaxin said, "There is no way. After a while, otherwise we will lie to them and say that the child was accidentally lost and lost. Anyway, this problem must be solved before they come." Xiao Wu said, "Okay." Su Qiaxin looked at Xiao and smiled mischievously, "However, you will definitely be scolded when the time comes." Xiao Wu didn't understand and asked, "Why? If you don't save the child, it's not because you didn't take good care of it. Teacher Wang didn't scold you." "How did Teacher Wang explain to you at the station?" Su Qiaxin laughed after saying this. Xiao Wu was stunned for a moment, but also laughed. He said, "Okay, if you get scolded, you will get scolded, and I will just stay silent." "There is another way," Su Qiaxin said. Xiao Wu quickly asked, "What can I do?" "Idiot, hurry up now and cook the rice. Then you will say that the doctor got the time wrong. I really have it. Who cares about these few months?" Xiao Wu chuckled, "You still have more options. Don't be scared, damn Xiao Wu. I'm telling you, you must be more honest with me in the future, or I will have 1,000 ways to punish you." Su Qiaxin kept nodding her head and threatened. After returning from Sanya, Zhang Xiangbei was about to return to the United States. There was a quarrel at home over how to go back. First, Zhang Xiangbei persisted and only agreed to carry a backpack. He refused to take the suitcase of food prepared by his grandmother for him. Zhang Chen's mother said, "Bai Bei, when we bought these, we asked about them and they said they could be taken on the plane. There was no problem. You can just take them with you." "Oh grandma, I'm not worried about whether I can take it on the plane. I just don't want to. It's so troublesome to carry a suitcase. It's just a bag like this. I don't even need to check in luggage. I just want it to be so easy," Zhang Xiangbei insisted. Zhang Chen and Zhang Xiangbei said, "In this case, you should bring it with you. Isn't it just checking your luggage? How much trouble will it add?" These things were brought to the United States. And Xiaofang likes to eat them. By the way, you can also give them to your classmates. You can't go back to China and bring no gifts to your classmates. It makes everyone think that you are a stingy Chinese guy. Bar. Zhang Xiangbei said, "We don't have the habit of giving each other gifts, okay." Xiangnan said, "Zhang Xiangbei, you can give this to the American girl you like. You can use this to show your courtesy. Let me tell you, Zhang Xiangbei, there is no girl in the world who is not greedy." Zhang Xiangbei stared at her, angry, and laughed at Xiangnan. Tired of being annoyed, Zhang Xiangbei finally gave in and agreed to take the suitcase with him. Next came the question of how to get there. Zhang Xiangbei insisted not to be sent by them. The bus from the Hangzhou Civil Aviation Ticket Office to Pudong Airport was only available in the morning. It was only around 10 o'clock when it arrived at Pudong Airport. Zhang Xiangbei's ticket was around 7 o'clock in the evening. It was too early to take this train. Zhang Xiangbei said that he would take the train to Shanghai just like when he came here, and then take a taxi from Shanghai South Railway Station to Pudong Airport. Grandma and Grandma were naturally worried. Finally, Zhang Chen proposed a compromise plan, that is, everyone would send Zhang Xiangbei to Chengjian Railway Station. After Zhang Xiangbei arrived at Shanghai South Railway Station, Xiaomi would pick him up at the South Railway Station and then drop him off. He goes to the airport. Zhang Xiangbei reluctantly agreed to this plan. At around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Xiaomi called Zhang Chen and told him that they had received Zhang Xiangbei and that they were going to the airport now. At around 5 o'clock, Xiaomi called Zhang Chen again and told him that Zhang Xiangbei had been sent through the security check. "Mr. Zhang, thank you," Xiaomi said. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Thank you for anything, I should be the one thanking you." No, I want to thank you," Xiaomi smiled. "You asked your son to bring us such a big box of delicious food. Your son said that they are all local specialties of Hangzhou." After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen shook his head and cursed, "This little bastard." After scolding, Zhang Chen couldn't help but laugh. He decided to go home and not tell the two old ladies about this matter. Thank you book friend 202009111601099750 for the reward of 2 fishes at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you Xiaoao, Huandian Electromechanical, Wu Yehuan, Xiaosheng Nianfang 48, book friends 2021109111351923, George Xiao, book friends 201811241834233518, book friends 854824, Su Yuinian, Zizhiwu, book friends 202009111601099750, salted fish sewer, Rabuluij, Lang 68, book friend 201905142153483995, book friend 1302211840471110, Qian Dad's monthly ticket. Thank you for all the recommendation votes and reading. I wish everyone good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1538. Zhang Xiangbei has been away for more than a week, and Xiangnan is also going to report to Beijing. Because of this, Tan Shehen and Xiangnan had another argument while having dinner at Zhang Chen's mother's place. Not only Tan Shehen, Lao Tan, and Mrs. Tan, but also Zhang Chen's parents and Xiao Zhao's parents all wanted to send Xiang Nan to Beijing to report, but Xiang Nan refused. She insisted on going alone and did not want them to send Xiang Nan. Nan said, "Zhang Xiangbei can go back and forth to the United States by himself, but I will go to Beijing. What's the big deal?" Zhang Chen's mother and the others took a step back first and said to Xiang Nan, "Okay, Nan, we are not going, let your mother take you there." Xiang Nan still refused and insisted on going alone. Tan Shehen and Xiang Nan said, Nan, you dislike your mother so much. Are you afraid that your mother will send you away and embarrass you?" Xiang Nan giggled and said, No, I'm worried that the school will see you and don't want me anymore, so they'll keep you here." "Don't smile so playfully," Tan Shehen said. "No playful smile, Mom, I feel that I have grown up. I can do this kind of thing by myself," Xiang Nan said, "to be embarrassed. I feel that I am so old that my parents have to send me to school to report, quite embarrassing." Tan Shehen stared at Xiang Nan, and Xiang Nan stared at Tan Shehen. Zhang Chen said from the side, "Tan Shehen, Xiang Nan is right, just let her do this by herself." Tan Shehen was annoyed. She had nowhere to vent her anger. She turned around and scolded Zhang Chen. "Zhang Chen, what do you mean? You can't send me to the north yourself, and you won't let me send you to the south." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Yes, that's what I mean. I think we should also listen to their opinions. They have grown up, and we can't just treat them like children. Yes, yes, I support Uncle Zhang Chen, Xiang Nan shouted immediately. Tan Shahen scolded, what support? You guys are just venting your anger through one nostril. How big are your nostrils? Zhang Chen said. After saying that, he and Xiang Nan laughed together. Okay, when Zhang went north, I proposed a compromise plan. When he went south, I came to propose a compromise plan. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahen said, you, Lao Tan, MRS Tan, and the grandparents here, all those who want to send Xiang Nan to Xiaoshan Airport should be sent to Beijing, and Wenwen will pick them up and she will send them to Xiang Nan. Reporting to the Film Academy, Wenwen will pick you up and drop you off. Tan Shahen, what are you worried about? Zhang Chen asked Tan Shahen, how is it? Tan Shahen had no choice but to say okay. Zhang Chen turned to Xiang Nan. Before he could speak, Xiang Nan shouted, I agree. Tan Shahen stared at Xiang Nan and cursed, I just don't understand, it's okay for Wenwen to give it to you, why can't mom? Xiang Nan smiled and said, there is an essential difference. You know, you and your grandparents, you are all parents, and Wenwen is a friend. Can this be the same? By the way, I remembered Zhang Chen said, Wenwen also wants to be Xiang Nan's agent, so it would be more appropriate for her to pick up Xiang Nan. She has been my agent for a long time, have you forgotten? Xiang Nan said proudly. After going to the airport to see off Xiang Nan, Tan Shahen followed Zhang Chen to his office and sat on the sofa with a grimace and a dazed look on her face. Zhang Chen asked her what was wrong. Tan Shahen shook her head and sighed. She looked at Zhang Chen and said, Zhang Chen, why do I feel that now that Nan Nan is gone, I seem to have aged suddenly and become a lonely old woman? Zhang Chen laughed. Don't laugh, I'm serious. Think about it, if Nan Nan left today, she would actually declare that she officially left me. From now on, she will only come to see me when she still remembers her. If she doesn't want to, just go and do her own thing, and it will be even more important when she gets married, has children, and has her own home. Tan Shahen's eyes turned red as she spoke, and she said, anyway, I'm telling you, Zhang Chen, the days when he saw you and would rely on you and follow you like a bastard are gone forever. Alas, I almost made myself cry just talking about it. Zhang Chen walked over, brought her a bottle of water, patted her on the shoulder, and told her that she would get used to it. Tan Shahen, let me be honest with you, when Zhang Xiangbei first left, I was actually quite sad. Yes, although it is not as exaggerated as you, my mood is the same as yours, I feel empty in my heart. When Zhang Xiangbei was still at home, although he didn't see him every day, it was different from the other people in the United States who couldn't see him. In the United States, you were separated by space, and you couldn't see him even if you wanted to. See, here, if you want to see, go back early, or get up early, you can see, the initiative is mine. Yes, Zhang Chen, that's it, Tan Shahen shouted, how did you overcome it? That's it, Zhang Chen said, work every day, live day by day, and then you will get used to it. I even got used to Xiao Zhao's absence in the end. If there is anything you can't get used to, you will get used to it. Okay, Zhang Chen, I don't care. I'm going to mess around with you. I don't want to go home. Go back home. My dad and my mom don't say anything, but their faces look like they're thinking about Nanan. They just look at it. What's even more sad is that I come to your place for dinner every day, and you still have Xiao Wu and Xiao Xin here, which makes it more lively, Tan Shahen said. Zhang Chen smiled and said, you just come, don't forget to pay for the food, or you can work as a cook. You, Tan Shahen, can still cook. Get out, Tan Shahen cursed. However, from that day on, Tan Shehen actually came to Zhang Chen's office for dinner every day. When she got off work, she would go to the market next to Kyoshi Academy and bring some dishes. When she arrived, Xiaoli, Su Kioxin, and Ji Ling, they would help wash and cook together. After finishing, the six of them ate together in Zhang Chen's office, which was quite lively. Tan Shehen was very busy and had no time to go to the market. In the evening, Xiao Wu would take Su Kioxin or Xiaoli to the market to buy vegetables. After buying them, they would wash and cut them, and wait for Tan Shehen to come over and fry them. While Tan Shehen was frying, she would say to Su Kioxin, "Learn more, you are about to start a family too." "No, no, I don't need to learn," Su Kioxin said. "Anyway, my parents will retire in a few years. They came to Hangzhou to live with us, and we won't be allowed to interfere in any household chores." Tan Shehen scolded, "It's so shameless to have plotted against your mother so early." Su Kioxin giggled, and Tan Shehen thought to herself, "This is great. If Nanan plots against her like this in the future, I'm afraid she would be very happy." For a few days, everyone unanimously and strongly requested that Zhang Chen also show off his cooking skills. Several women yelled and said that the dishes he cooked were so delicious. Su Kioxin said, "Kaidi told me before," she said, "when you first set up the factory, the boss often cooked and cooked for everyone. When everyone saw the boss going to the kitchen, they would cheer. Today, it seems that the reputation is indeed well deserved." Zhang Chen scolded, "If you don't accept flattery, don't expect me to cook for you every day." "No, no, you just need to improve our lives occasionally," Xiaoli said. "What do you mean, Xiaoli?" Tan Shehen scolded, "Are you saying that I have wronged you by cooking for you every day?" Everyone laughed. Xiaoli made a face, and said quickly, "It's not a good choice of words. I'm going to squat in the corner, Sister Shehen. I'm eating the dishes cooked by Mr. Zhang now, and I want to eat the dishes cooked by Sister Shehen. What should I do?" Zhang Chen glared at her and said, "You think you're so clever with this flattery, but don't you know that you've offended both of them?" Everyone laughed again, and Ji Ling said, "Should I be like me, just open my mouth and eat, and talk less, because I don't know that if I talk too much, I will make mistakes?" In 2009, many people suddenly realized what a mistake it was not to buy a house in 2008. It can be said that they missed buying a house in 2008, maybe because they missed the only thing that can make them rich in recent years. Opportunities to skyrocket. In the entire Hangzhou, houses worth 8 or 9,000 square meters per square meter in 2008, which were still difficult to sell, quickly exceeded 20,000 yuan in just a few months in 2009, more than doubling the price. There are even properties that are priced at this price when you pay the deposit today. When you pay the down payment in 2 days, they will either tell you that the price has increased and you cannot sell it at the original price, or they will directly tell you that the house has been sold. When it's over, if you want a deposit, then the deposit will be refunded to you. Such disputes arise one after another between buyers and sellers. When more home buyers encounter this situation, they can only scratch their noses and accept the new price. They are worried that if they don't buy today, they may come back tomorrow and the price of the house will increase again. The real estate market in 2009 has completely turned into a seller's market, and buyers have no possibility of negotiating prices. This is not only the case in Hangzhou. Tan Shehen and her branches across the country are almost in the same situation. Selling a house has never felt so easy, and buying a house has never felt so aggrieved. After so many years of hard work with the whole family, almost I spent all my savings to buy a house, but in the end, I still have to be a grandchild. Whoever buys a house actually has to look at the faces of the lady who sells the house and the gentleman who sells the house. This is really unreasonable. Along with the skyrocketing housing prices, there are various stories about Wenzhou real estate speculators, about Shaanxi coal bosses, Some say that once they enter the sales department, they will spend hundreds of millions to buy a building, and some say those who buy a community are all kinds of lavish purchases. Compared with these investors who buy lavishly, you who are stingy and use your savings to buy a house, do you still dare to think of yourselves as gods? Along with the skyrocketing land and housing prices, there is also public dissatisfaction. The public is angry at the high housing prices that are running wild. This anger is aimed at real estate developers, various real estate speculators, and at the same time, local government. By September, Tan Shahan felt as if she was possessed by Lu Ligan. When she fell asleep at night, she would often wake up from her dreams. When she opened her eyes and looked into the darkness, Lu Ligan's shadow would appear in her eyes. In front of you. She felt that at this moment, if Lu Ligan was still here, he would definitely start to worry, and he would curse and say that these idiots are trying to force her out again. Tan Shahan thinks so. This guy is always alert enough in this regard. If he sees the current situation, he will definitely curse. Tan Shahan also became worried. Thank you Hu, Lao Chen Tang, Sui for learning to sing, Lao Shenza Sang, Cup Gai API, Don Bao Bao, Bao Liang, Xiao Daddy, Book Friends 202009031727593111, Book Friends 201909090759292245, Book Friends 20190110118025224314, Tai Zongshang 1, Niu Niu 0517, Dragon, Ribuluage, Shiyu 1611222135011799, Xiangji, Kingbo, Zongkai 727, Shiyu 201905142153483995, Mwu, Crazy Spear, Shuang Lingxiao, Very Careful 333, Galaxy, Zi Zheng said, Walker, Lang 68, Why can't I change my name, Jinhui Raiwichi. Protostop, Kanchan Shui, Rainman, Brokeback Mountain, Book Friends 201809062232049334, Book Friends 201811071825333788, 201701130912185553 monthly tickets. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1539. Once credit is opened, it will be like mercury. Since the foundation for the recovery of China's real economy is still weak, a large amount of credit funds overflowed into the stock market and property market. Although the lessons of the last round of deep adjustment are still before us, the market investment enthusiasm is unstoppable. As investment demand emerges, the King of Land once again shows its power, marking the end of this round of real estate adjustment. The August issue of China's most prestigious Caijing magazine published the cover article V-shaped real estate market, using a set of reports and comments that took up almost one-third of the magazine's space to issue a warning about the current property market. Voices. Because this round of real estate adjustment has been abandoned halfway, it is difficult to provide a complete risk guide for government departments, developers, and investors. If the bubble accumulates further, the risk of deep adjustment in the future will still exist. Even the most optimistic people have realized that out of the extreme desire to guarantee aid and maintain stability, the government will continue to maintain the existing loose credit policy, but may make partial adjustments. No one knows how the adjustments will be made. The specific timing and method will be determined, but it will definitely be after the National Day in the short term and in the first half of next year in the long term. Finance magazine commented in the editor's note of the set of reports. Tan Shahan closed the magazine and placed it on her desk. She placed her hand on the cold and smooth cover of the magazine. She felt that the vague fear she felt and the doubts that had troubled her night after night seemed to be verified. Tan Shahan picked up the phone and called Yao Fen. Yao Fen walked in. Tan Shahen told her that she would immediately notify the general managers of each branch and return to Hangzhou tomorrow for a meeting the day after tomorrow. Dr. Tan, tomorrow is Saturday and the day after tomorrow is Sunday, Yao Fen said. What about Saturday and Sunday? Tan Shahen asked. Yao Fen nodded and said, I understand, Mr. Tan. Also, send someone to the newsstand to buy 50 copies of this issue of Finance magazine. Tan Shahen picked up the magazine on the table and handed it to Yao Fen. On Saturday, the general managers of each branch were recalled to Hangzhou. The first thing they did after returning to Hangzhou was to go to the company and get it from Yao Fen according to what Yao Fen told her on the phone. In a finance magazine, Yao Fen told them that this was requested by Director Tan. Everyone must read this group of articles on V-shaped real estate market tonight, and it will be discussed at the meeting tomorrow. Please come to the meeting with your brains in mind, Yao Fen said to everyone. These are Chairman Tan's exact words. This requirement is nothing to Su Wenhui, Ying Ying, and Song Chunming, but it is a bit difficult for Zhang Mushan, Fan Jiangguo, and Lao Wan, general managers who have more folk wisdom than book wisdom. Their educational level is not high to begin with. Although Fan Jiangguo has graduated from high school, he has not yet graduated. The little things he learned in school have already been returned to the teacher. His graduation exam was passed by the teacher who turned a blind eye. With one eye closed, copy what your deskmate did. Needless to say, Lao Wan, Zhang Mushan used to work in the city's number 3 construction company, where he worked as a laborer carrying mud buckets and gradually became the general manager. At that time, they still paid attention to the hair is combed smoothly and the face is fragrant, just because in the era of if you don't work, everyone calls you dirty. In the entire construction company, the most educated person was a high school graduate. In the company, he was already called a scholar. Although Tan Shahen always asked them to study more after becoming the general manager of the branch, Zhang Mushan felt that he was too old to enter college, Lao Wan said that he was too busy, and Fan Jiangguo put his limited energy into to learn from countless young lesbians. This is why Tan Shahen asked them to come to the meeting with their brains in mind. Fortunately, Lao Wan has Zheng Huiyang, Zhang Mushan has a daughter who is a civil servant who brings her children home on Saturdays. Fan Jiangguo himself is illiterate, and his wife is a serious college graduate. All three of them devoured the set of articles. I understand the main content of the article and feel that my brain is already there. The next day, everyone went to the company with their minds in mind. After sitting down in the conference room, Tan Shahen first let everyone speak freely and discuss this group of articles in the finance magazine. Zhang Mushan thinks this is alarmist. He said that the policy to suppress real estate has just been relaxed, and it has only been a little longer. It has just been confirmed that real estate is a pillar industry, and now the pillar industry is going to be taken away. We all build houses. No one knows what will happen if these pillars are taken away. Fan Jiangguo also said that everyone who drives knows that the brakes must be applied and not stepped on. It would be dangerous to step on the vehicle and it would be dangerous for us to wait until the authorities start to apply the brakes before dealing with it. It is too late. Song Chunming objected to Fan Jiangguo and Lao Wan's statement. He said that we should be vigilant. This wave of rising housing and land prices is indeed coming very fast and violently. Now it can no longer be slowed down by a few clicks. The market has already produced huge fluctuations. Inertia, according to the experience of macro control in the past few years, when the above takes action, it will definitely be equally fast and fierce. Only in this way can it be effective. Ying Ying agreed with Song Chunming. She said that some people on the internet are now saying that the total land price in Beijing and Shanghai can already buy the United States. This situation is very similar to the situation before the Japanese real estate bubble burst. Bubble has been there for many years, but what is the result? Has anyone seen the bubble? Does anyone know what will happen when the bubble bursts? Zhang Mushan said. I have seen it and experienced it personally, Lao Tan said. There are also Mr. Lu and Mr. Meng Ping. They have also experienced it personally. What will happen? 4 words, it is too horrible to look at, and 4 more words, it is unbearable to look back. Don't think that this is child's play, and don't think that the bursting of the bubble is very far away. Let me tell you, Lao Zhang, the entire real estate bubble in Hainan burst at that time, just overnight. No one was prepared. They were caught off guard. Almost in the blink of an eye, when they opened their eyes, there were already corpses everywhere. No one could escape. Look, you see, this is the Weibo that Sina just opened this month. It has the Weibo of financial writer Wu Xiaobo. Let me read this passage of his to everyone. Ying Ying looked at the computer and read to everyone. I have attended several forums recently and everyone is talking about the real estate and stock markets. The speculative atmosphere is so thick that it has rarely been seen in years. The trend of wealth flowing upward, upstream, and concentrated in a few people is getting faster and faster, and it looks like the end of the world. That's what he said, and I think we should be alarmed. Su Wenhui is relatively familiar with the Caijing magazine itself. He said that the organizer of the Caijing magazine, Koban, is a group of commonly known Haiji kids, including the current editor-in-chief Hu Zili, who are also from the Red generation. Many of the important articles in the article are not based on groundless speculation, but have already smelled some of the atmosphere above. I think the current chaos in real estate is not invisible to the higher UPS. It is already being discussed, and the discussion may be very intense. I agree with what Lao Song said earlier. Once a decision is made, it will be implemented vigorously and resolutely, and will not be punished. Your breathing room. Lao Tan said, the most fearful thing is that the scene in 2008 will happen again. If we are not prepared, it will be difficult to say whether we can survive it. Last year, we were walking a tightrope, and the time it took to walk the tightrope over time, there will always be times when we slip and fall, and now we can't withstand the fall. Tan Shahen knew what Lao Tan meant when he said he couldn't stand the fall. If he were to fall like that in 2008, not only would their company be on the verge of death, but Zhang Chen would also be dragged into the water. There is a classic saying in the capital market, when there is a hurricane, even sows can fly. Now the entire real estate market is already experiencing a hurricane, but we cannot be that flying pig. Tan Shahen looked at everyone and continued. Although flying pigs can fly very high, when the wind stops, they will fall miserably. Mr. Tan is right to remind you that it has only been 2008, but many people have healed their scars and forgotten the pain, but the wound was still scabbing, and he had forgotten the pain. In 2008, we were just like that flying pig. It was only by chance that when we fell down, Mr. Zhang below laid out a life-saving air mattress for us, so we didn't fall to death. But if we flew blindly again and fell, we wouldn't be able to survive, so good luck. Whether it's a company or a person, running fast may not necessarily mean running longer, but those who run longer must be healthier in all aspects. What do you mean? What I mean is very simple, that is, we have to give ourselves a breath. No matter when the time comes, we have to give ourselves a breath, instead of relying on oxygen from the outside. To put it in layman's terms, that is to say, we cannot exhaust all roads by ourselves. We must leave ourselves a retreat that allows us to retreat to a safe zone and survive. How to do this? I think it is very simple. It is to have concentration. Everyone can say the word concentration, but it is difficult to do it. For a gambler, you can give him a good hand. How can he control himself if he doesn't stud during poker? Fan Jiangguo laughed. I didn't expect Mr. Tan to know about stud. Tan Shahen also laughed and said, you think I don't watch gambling movies or Chow Yun Fat? Everyone in the conference room laughed, and Lao Tan said, Zhen Zhen, keep talking. Okay, what should we do? I've also been thinking about this issue these days, Tan Shahen said. now the entire real estate market is in chaos. Anyone who is not blind can see that it is already crazy. We to be determined, we must become a normal company amidst this chaos and madness. Every time there is regulation, companies will go bankrupt and close, and there will also be companies that survive. The companies that survive are, without exception, relatively normal companies, and there are no companies that go crazy. Such companies are what I said earlier. Yes, give yourself a breath and away. When Tan Shahen said this, she looked at her watch and said, "What we have to do now is to make ourselves a normal company in this manic environment. As long as we become a normal company, no matter when the regulation comes and how strong it is, we will still be able to. The hope of survival has been prepared. Okay, it's almost time in the morning. Let's go to Tuxianjiayuan for dinner first." During the meal and lunch break, everyone will think about what is abnormal about us now and how to return us to a normal company. Thank you for the reward of 2 fishes at around 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. Thank you for 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, 2 fishes, Baby Tin Soldier, The Snake That Bites the Farmer, Wanderer Xiaoliu, He Shi Yitan, Fantasy in the Wind, Far Stream, Not the Impossible World, Brother Bing, Humorous Tribe, and How, Gongzimianzi, Bree Sugzu 365, Xuanlin, Rabuluij, Freedom After Rain, Book Friends 201712210210399330s Monthly Pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1540. They had lunch in the private room of Tuxianjiayuan Hotel on Yan'an Road. They said they were eating, but in fact they took the interrupted meeting in the conference room and continued it in the private room. Everyone's topic returned to the company's business. Tan Shahen asked everyone to talk more about the current problems in the company. She said that only by finding out the problems first and then solving them can our company return to normal. I'm a rough guy and don't know how to speak. If my words offend everyone, please forgive me. Sister Gihwa looked at everyone and spoke first. Tan Shahen smiled and said, "It's all for work. There's nothing I can't say, and there's no problem of offending anyone. Just say it, Sister Gihwa." Okay, I think Director Tan is right. It is indeed very chaotic now, not only outside, but inside our company. I feel it is also chaotic. Sister Gihwa was indeed quick to talk, and she got to the point as soon as she spoke. I am in charge regarding property. I feel that our current level of property management is declining. Tan Shahen and Lao Tan were both surprised. Property management, but their Jinxia Group's golden brand, has made a name in the industry. Many other companies' high-end properties are now negotiating cooperation with Tan Shahen and the others. Tan Shahen originally they plan to expand this business next, that is, they will not only build houses, but also export their property management. Property management can also bring huge profits, especially the management of high-end properties. Sister Gihwa, please give me more details, Tan Shahen said. In our property management this year, the number of complaints from owners is increasing every month. This is still recorded. I randomly checked and found that for some projects, owners' complaints are not even recorded at all. Although I am here to supervise, they improved, but the effect was not obvious, and I had a feeling of inadequacy. What's the reason? Tan Shahen asked. There are 2 main reasons, Sister Gihwa said. First, in almost every project we are now accelerating the launch and handover of houses. After the house is handed over, the property management company is also established, but in fact our property management, whether it's personnel or security, we haven't even finished the training before we let them take up the job, so the service level will definitely drop. Tan Shahen nodded, and Sister Gihwa continued. The most important thing is that there is a problem with the leadership's consciousness. The general managers here all feel that their main job now is to sell houses, and they don't pay enough attention to the later property management. Many of the unpleasant things have been said. If you let it go, you probably think that selling the house is the most important thing, and let's talk about the follow-up property services. Tan Shahen asked everyone, do you have this problem? Ying Ying raised her hand and said, I admit that I have this problem. From an ideological point of view, I do have the idea of how to get the project out as soon as possible and sell it as soon as possible. I really don't pay attention to the property, and I don't even take care of it myself. Everything is left to the vice president. Lao Wan said, I also have this idea. I feel that building and selling a house is the most important thing. Property services are all things after the house has been sold, so I don't pay attention to it. Tan Shahen looked around, and several other people nodded, admitting that they had the same problem. Tan Shahen thought for a moment. She leaned over and whispered a few words to Lao Tan. Lao Tan nodded. Tan Shahen said, well, let's adjust this area immediately. Starting from tomorrow, the property management of each place will be handed over to the property management company of the group company, namely Sister Gihwa, has changed the current practice of branch offices also managing local property management companies. Tan Shahen turned to Sister Gihwa and said to her, all personnel deployment, recruitment, and appointments will be handled by you. The property services will be completely independent from the branch and managed by you. You see, may I? Sister Gihwa looked at everyone and said, I wonder if they have any opinions. Others said they had no objections. Ying Ying said, I don't understand property management to begin with. It should have been handled by professionals long ago. Sister Gihwa, you have reduced my burden. Sister Gihwa said yes, then I will take it. Tan Shahen said, this is one thing, and it will be handed over in an orderly manner starting on Monday. What else is there? Lao Wan said, I think the quality of our projects is declining now. I don't know about other places. At least this is the case in Shanghai. All 5 projects are being completed in a hurry. Those project managers feel that the houses have been sold and the money has been collected anyway. Now that we are back, the quality control of subsequent projects is no longer as strict as before. Every time I go to a project, I can find a lot of problems. The second time I go, some have been changed, and some have not been touched at all. Even the construction company is not very willing to rework now. They also feel that the house is not broken. Everyone wants it, but it has been sold, so why are you so fussy about it? I also have this problem in Xiamen, Fan Jiangguo said. The situation is better where I am, Zhang Mushin said, those are also the bosses of those construction companies. They know that I am from a construction background and are not easy to fool, so they will be more careful when doing things. However, they always complain to me, saying our job is difficult. I actually communicated with the construction company more than once or twice about this matter. They also told me the truth. They said that there are too many projects now. It turns out that one person has to work on 3 projects, so there is not enough manpower. Of course, half of the new recruits are top-up workers, and now they are the original workers who have been used as masters on the construction site. Of course, there will be problems with the quality, Su Wenhui said. Song Chunming nodded and said that this is a common phenomenon and it is not a problem of our company. Almost every real estate company will encounter this problem. There is another reason, Ying Ying said, the construction companies that did relatively well in the past few years have now become real estate companies. They have all started working on their own projects. These construction companies now are all the original ones doing odd jobs. Zhang Mushin shouted, it's really like this. Not to mention other things, it's Hangzhou. The brothers and sisters who used to do construction together with us are now real estate bosses. Don't tell me, the work these workers are doing now, I don't like it. There is no technical content, but thanks to the rapid renewal of building materials and construction machinery, there is less and less reliance on labor. Yes, there are no masters who can make wooden doors and windows nowadays, and those who can do mortise and tenon joints are even rarer. They all rely on nails, glue, and nail guns, Lao Wan also said. Lao Tan saw that they were going further and further away from the project manager. They were talking about the construction company. Can they change the construction company? The environment is like this, and it is useless for anyone to complain. Lao Tan said, it is better to talk more. Talk about ourselves. Tan Shahen waved her hand and said, this matter is very important. My idea is, Brother Tan, you should take the lead and conduct a thorough investigation of all our projects to see how serious and how extensive this problem is. Lao Tan nodded and said yes. After we feel confident, on the one hand, we strengthen communication with the construction companies to see how they can improve. There are also some low-cost projects, and we take the initiative to make adjustments to them, or as rewards for high-quality projects. In a word, regardless of whether it is a sold or unsold project, the quality of the project must be properly controlled, otherwise we will be damaging our own brand. As Tan Shahen spoke, everyone was silent. Tan Shahen looked at everyone and said sincerely, it is not easy for our Jinxia Group's houses to have a good reputation in the industry. This is all earned through everyone's hard work. We cannot destroy our own reputation anymore. Therefore, I beg the general manager of each branch to consider this your most important job. If the house can't be built well, what's the point of selling it well? The faster we sell, the more we sell, the faster we will destroy our own brand. On the other hand, our own construction company needs to continue to expand its scale and strive to increase the proportion of our self-built projects. Based on what I said this morning, my idea is that in principle we will not acquire new land in the second half of the year. This is to firstly prepare for cash reserves and prepare to deal with the most difficult situations, and secondly, we have to put our own when the speed slows down, we must launch projects based on our own staffing. Without a good project team, we should not blindly launch new projects or rush them to the shelves. Slowing down the speed is what I said this morning and returning to normal. When the speed is slowed down and the number of projects under construction is reduced, it will be possible for you, the general manager, to turn every project into a high-quality project. When others are going crazy, we don't follow the madness. When others are making shoddy products, we should strive for excellence. We don't pursue industry rankings, nor do we pursue inflated sales performance. I think our entire company, from top to bottom, must establish a concept, which is the original rule set by Mr. Liu. We want to create China's best for good houses. We do not set the industry benchmark for enterprise size, but we set the industry benchmark for quality. I remember when Vank entered Hangzhou, Mr. Liu and I went to see their house. What Mr. Liu said at that time still impressed me deeply. He said, if I were Wang Shi, I would have built such a bad house. I could commit suicide in my house and still have the nerve to brag about it. Mr. Liu was very serious when he said it, and he was not joking at all. To be honest, I also think that in terms of the quality of the houses, Vank is indeed on a different level than our Jinxiu. I hope that in 5 or 10 years, we will, 20 years later, I still have the confidence to say that. Do you all have such confidence? Tan Shahen asked. Yes, no matter where Mr. Liu is now, we cannot fail the brand he created, Zhang Mushin said. Lao Wan said, I was brought out by Mr. Liu hand in hand, and I will not let him down. Me too, Ying Ying said, otherwise my dad wouldn't do it. Fan Jiangguo smiled and said, what does it have to do with your father? Of course it does matter. You little kid doesn't know that back then, my dad told me in front of Mr. Liu that I would work hard in Jinxia for the rest of my life, Ying Ying said. Fan Jiangguo is 5 or 6 years older than Ying Ying. Everyone laughed when they heard Ying Ying calling Fan Jiangguo a little kid. Fan Jiangguo was not convinced and cursed, "Little sister, let's be clear. Even in terms of seniority in the company, I am older than you. I worked at Yiming Food Factory with Mr. Liu." "Okay, okay, can I call you old man?" Ying Ying shouted. "Thank you for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1541. Dr. 10, I think there is another problem, Sister Gihua said. "What's the problem?" Tan Shuhen asked. Sister Gihua said, "When I go to every project, I also go to the sales department. I find that the people in our sales department now have a very bad attitude. Those salespeople are just like the state-owned stores in the past. At that time, how to say something? The door is difficult to enter, the face is ugly, and the words are ugly," Lao Tan said. "Yes, that's it. I thought, no matter what, those who sell houses are also service workers. If service workers do this, it will definitely not work," Sister Gihua said. Tan Shuhen looked around at the general managers of each branch at the dinner table. She said, "I have heard about this too. Do any of you have this situation?" The general managers of several branches laughed sheepishly. Fan Jiangguo said that houses are easy to sell now, but the opposite is true. House buyers are trying to flatter the sales ladies. They are really arrogant. Ying Ying, you are from a sales background, do you think this is right? Tan Shuhen asked Ying Ying, and Ying Ying giggled. She said it was definitely wrong, but there was no way we could follow them. Moreover, there are indeed a lot of people coming to see them every day, and time is really not allowed for them to receive them all, Su Wenhui said. No, being busy is not a reason, nor is the fact that the house sells easily, Tan Shuhen said. I used to work at Mr. Zhang's, it's here, it's this place, the original Ban Mu Tian store, and every salesperson was very busy, a maximum of 50 or 60 pieces of clothes are sold in a day. Selling clothes is not easier than selling a house. You have to introduce it, and people have to try it on, and trying it on is not just one piece. But even though I am so busy, I have never heard of any door that is difficult to enter, faces that are ugly, or words that are difficult to hear. Everyone is greeted with a smile and farewell with a smile. Moreover, how much does a piece of clothing cost, and how much does a house cost? Is it true that people who sell houses should have a better service attitude than those who sell clothes? I think the key here is the issue of service awareness. Sister Gihua is right. No matter what she sells, this salesperson is doing service work. Doing service work without basic service awareness is not a trivial matter. Ying Ying, I'll leave this matter to you. You go back in a few days and think about how we did the sales work in Dehuayuan. You and Xiaolu will work together to make a service manual for our group sales staff. This after the manual is distributed to each branch, the general manager will personally implement this matter. At that time, I will go to each place for unannounced visits to see the results of your implementation. Ying Ying said yes. In the afternoon, we returned to the company's conference room and continued the meeting. We continued to sort out the details one by one. Both Tan Shuhen and Lao Tan were surprised. Lao Tan said, "It's really dark under the lamp. If we didn't hold this meeting, we probably wouldn't be able to do it ourselves, you know. It turns out that there are still so many problems, but usually everyone turns a blind eye." Tan Shuhen was also very emotional. She said that the company is developing so fast that we don't have time to stop and think about it. Looking back, in fact, our company has mold spots here and there and is beginning to rot, but we ourselves, I don't know, over time, this company will be like a house that has been eaten away by termites. If there is a slight disturbance, it will collapse. In this world, good companies each have their own good methods, but bad companies and failed companies, without exception, will definitely be destroyed in the hands of the operators themselves. If we are not careful and fearful, we are not far from closing down. Tan Shahan told everyone that so far, our sales target for this year has been doubled. Everyone should no longer have the pressure of tasks. In the remaining time, we just have to focus on service and quality, which other companies have no time to do. When doing these things, we need to lay a solid foundation and train our company's own physique. After the afternoon meeting, Tan Shahan asked Lao Tan and Yao Fen to take the attendees to dinner, but everyone said they didn't want to eat and wanted to go home. Yes, everyone's home is in Hangzhou. Who doesn't want to go back to accompany them? Family, why are you staying for dinner? Is there anything wrong? Tan Shahan was stunned for a moment, and then she realized that among all these people, she was the only one. Tan Shahan clapped her hands and said, "Okay, you all can go back." Everyone left, and Tan Shahan sat blankly in her office alone. After the meeting, the problems that needed to be discovered were discovered, and the solutions were implemented on the spot. Even if there was a storm in the future, they were all mentally prepared and planned to deal with it seriously. But Tan Shahan did not feel relaxed at all. Instead, she felt even more empty in her heart. Deep in her heart, the feeling of fear did not decrease at all, but increased. She didn't know if she was doing the right thing, and she didn't know if a storm would come next, let alone whether everything she did would really work when the storm came. Tan Shahan sat there, feeling like a ship in the ocean. She seemed to know the direction of the shore, but she couldn't see the shore. Outside the window, the sky was getting darker little by little, and Tan Shahan felt lonely. Tan Shahan picked up the phone and called Xiongnan. After the phone rang twice, Xiongnan put the phone down. After a while, a text message came back, "Still rehearsing. What kind of training are you planning to do at this time? Besides, haven't you just reported in? School hasn't officially started yet, so why are you rehearsing again?" Tan Shahan felt that Xiangnan was prevaricating her, so she dialed another number, but Xiangnan had already turned off the phone. Tan Shahan became anxious and wondered, would something happen to Nan Nan? She hurriedly called Wen Wen and asked her, "I couldn't get through to Nanan. She sent me a text message saying that she was rehearsing. Won't the official class start tomorrow? What kind of practice is she rehearsing now?" Wen Wen said, "Yes, Nanan should still be rehearsing now." "Sister Zhenzhen, do you know Zhang Guangtian?" Tan Shahan said she didn't know. Who was it? There is a very awesome person in Beijing. By the way, there is a play called Che Guevara. Sister Zhenzhen, do you know about it? Wen Wen asked. Tan Shahan still said she didn't know. What about the accidental death of an anarchist? Wen Wen continued to ask. Tan Shahan said, "I don't know. Rhinoceros in love? Have no idea. What about Sage Confucius and Mr. Lu Xun? I know Mr. Lu Xun. Not only is he the one who wrote Blessing, I also played the role of Mrs. Xionglan." Tan Shahan said. Wen Wen giggled and said, "I'm not asking about this person, but the play Mr. Lu Xun. Forget it, asking is in vain. You must not know Zhang Guangtian. Anyway, he is a very awesome person in Beijing. The director of Pioneer Drama, on the day we went to Beijing Film Academy to report, they were recruiting volunteers for a certain play. They said it was going to be performed in Seoul. Nan Nan applied for it and was selected." Tan Shahan breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out that this was what happened. It seemed that Nan Nan was not prevaricating her, but was really rehearsing. At this moment, Tan Shahan felt that her nerves, which had been tense all day, suddenly became relaxed. "Sister Zhenzhen, is there anything else?" Wen Wen asked. "No, Wen Wen, thank you," Tan Shahan said quickly. Tan Shahan picked up the phone and called Zhang Chen again, asking where he was. "Office," Zhang Chen said. "What are you doing?" Tan Shahan asked. Days. Tan Shahen burst out laughing. Zhang Chen got curious and asked, is it so funny that I was in a daze? Tan Shahen smiled and said, isn't it funny that you were in a daze? But I just finished days too. Do you think it's funny or not? It's not funny either, Zhang Chen said. Okay, I think it's quite funny anyway. By the way, why are you alone, Xiao Wu and Xiao Xin? On Sunday, we went out to play, eat, and then watch a movie. Why didn't you go together? Tan Shahen asked. What am I going to do? Zhang Chen asked curiously, being a light bulb. I'm not that boring. By the way, Zhang Chen, do you know Zhang Guangtian? I know, a director, the one who directed Che Guevara, Zhang Chen said. What's wrong? It's nothing. Nanan said she was going to make a cameo in one of his plays, Tan Shahen said. That's good. At least it can open your eyes. Those who engage in avant-garde theater have very strange minds. By the way, Tan Shahen, didn't you have a meeting today? Is the meeting over? Zhang Chen remembered and asked. It's over, everyone has gone home now, and I'm the only one left, Tan Shahen said. Okay, Zhang Chen, you're lonely and I'm lonely, how about you accompany me to the friendly hotel upstairs to eat Japanese food and have an affair? That's it? Let's go to the movies too. Zhang Chen cursed, get out. Tan Shahen laughed and hung up the phone. Tan Shahen got up and walked out of the office, walked to the parking lot outside, got in the car, started the car, and when she got to Dexy Road outside, she thought about it and turned right to go to the dynamic zone. She thought to herself, if you tell me to get out, I will not refuse. Go away, I'm relying on you today, I'm going to annoy you to death. Tan Shahen thought and laughed again. She had already expected that as long as she invaded Zhang Chen's office, Zhang Chen would definitely have no choice in the end. He cursed and accompanied her to eat Japanese food upstairs at the Yuhao Hotel. Finally, I will also accompany her to the cinema. I don't know what movie is being played tonight. Who cares? Thank you for reading the book every day and ranking third from top to bottom for your monthly vote. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health.